tonight's agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Francis,
I'll second that motion.
second by Burek. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Well, good evening and welcome. Mardell, you attract quite a crowd. We should have you at every council meeting. Tonight, it is my honor on behalf of the council to the presentation of the 2025 Good Neighbor Award. And Mardell was nominated by two different people to receive the 2025 Good Neighbor Award. And I've taken those nominations and put together a little bio about Mardell. And obviously, we couldn't include everything, or we'd be here all night. So here's a condensed version about your greatness. Mardell DeCamp is an invested community member who is a champion for Maple Plain. Mardell has been involved in multiple organizations, often holding leadership roles. She gives freely of her time and of her resources, and is always willing to help others. Mardell served on the Maple Plain City Council for 4 years and the Maple Plain Planning Commission for 20 years. She used to own Butterflies and Berries, a local business in town. She's the president of the American Legion Auxiliary. She's on the board for the Maple Plain Museum and the Western Hennepin County Pioneer Museum in Long Lake. Mardell is the first to lend a helping hand, to send a handwritten note. And over the years, Mardell has clearly demonstrated a lifetime of service and dedication to Maple Plain and its surrounding communities through her volunteerism, virtues, civic engagement, and creativity in meeting the community needs. Mardell has a servant's heart, and she truly is a good neighbor. Mardell, please come forward.
And you have a half hour while I'm
You take your sweet time. I'll talk while you make your way up. On behalf of the Maple Plain City Council, it is my honor to present you with the 2025 Good Neighbor Award. And we are grateful for the many contributions you have made to make Maple Plain a great place to live, work, and play. With the logo behind us? Or do you want to stay right here? All right, you make your way. Let's go right over there, hon. You can go in front.
I've only worked the back.
You get to be in front.
I got the long back chair.
You sat back there for many meetings.
And I don't still like my picture taken. And I don't like them if they are taken.
Well, we'll do one more with the whole council since you're up here, okay? And then if you want one with your family, we can do that too. Or if you want one with all these people, because they're all here for you, not for us.
Well, that would be kind of fun.
Well, all right, we'll do that just for you. We'll do council and then we'll do all your people.
You might be surprised at how many of them are family.
That's awesome.
So, some of them have just learned who I'm related to.
All right,
You tell them.
very good.
All right, let's invite Carl and Mardell's family.
Mardell's family.
All of you, Mardell's family. Come on, Amy. Come on up.
Is Lisa really? Lisa, come on. Lisa, come on. Oh, yeah. Duh. Come on. I know, Missy, yes.
Not working.
Anyone else want to take Mardell's?
Mardell would like to say a few words.
The camera's ready.
This is on wheels, so.
No, put the cameras away. Thank you all for coming. This is just overwhelming. And my focus has always been local. It's not to be anything big, but to really work with the local people, the local kids. I think one of the kids that I had in the shop when she was little was Julie Moss. Yes, lots of stickers. But there were kids in town that needed a class in something to do in the summer. And so I held summer classes just to keep them busy. I had one little girl one night come in about 5:45 when I closed at 6. And she said, "Oh, are you closing already?" And I said, "Not yet." She said, "Well, it's kind of cold out and nobody's home and I missed the key. I didn't bring my key, so I can't get in." And I said, "Honey, I will stay until you know that somebody's at home." And it was after 6:30 before anybody was home. So look around your local neighborhood. This is a Good Neighbor Award. But look around your neighborhood and see who you can help, just even by letting them in when it's cold. So my thing has always been local. I am, again, the president of the American Legion Auxiliary. I've said this is my last year. It's only been 32. And when I look around, I see probably at least 4. Nope, you are already. I see 4 or 5 possibilities that haven't joined yet. So we're always looking for new members. So, end of my speech.
Well, as you can see, Mardell is more than worthy of our Good Neighbor Award, and we really appreciate you and the difference you have made in our community and the lives of so many that you probably don't even know the hearts that you have touched. So thank you all for taking the time to be here tonight and to celebrate and make Mardell feel loved and appreciated, because she certainly deserves it. So congratulations, and thank you all for coming, and feel free to leave if you'd like, but you are welcome to stay. At this time, we will move on to visitors to be heard. Do we have any visitors to be heard, Administrator Schillander?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have Rhonda Nelson from the Gillespie Center to present. Sorry.
Was there anyone else?
No.
Okay. All right. At this time, we'll invite forward Rhonda to the podium. Please introduce yourself, and staff will help you with your presentation.
Wonderful. Hi, everyone. As you said, I'm Rhonda Nelson. I'm the director at the Gillespie Center. We are a nonprofit senior community center, physically located in Mound, but serve the whole West Tonka communities. I'll just say that I've been there about a year and a half, and it has truly opened my eyes. I came from kind of corporate America and made this big switch, and I've gotten to know so many people like Mardell, who are so community focused. I am the only employee there. The rest of the center is run on volunteers. So I've been doing this kind of city roadshow to go to the cities to to do a couple of things. One, to inform them about the Gillespie Center, to make sure that you guys are all aware of our community asset and promoting it, using it to all the community's abilities, and also to ask for money. And I know that you're not in your budget cycle now, so it's going to be a little different. But I do hope that maybe next year I can come back and give an update and make a plea for that. But I'm just thrilled to be here on this night when you're giving the Good Neighbor Award. We just celebrated our 25th anniversary, and it was in October, and it was really centered around honoring the past, but also looking forward to the future and honoring Bill Gillespie, who sounds like he was a lot like Medell, who really was this wonderful community neighbor and gave to his community. So we're thankful for him. Okay, back to the presentation. When I came a year and a half ago, the center was not in the best of shape. We were in the red from fiscally for our budget. And one of the first things I did is worked with our board of directors to create a vision, mission, and value statement. They didn't have one. So I'm pleased to tell you that we have one now. And our vision is, of course, a thriving communities, and our mission is to provide a sustainable and supportive environment, culture, and space to enrich the lives of our community members of all ages. Even though we are a senior center, that's how Bill Gillespie founded us we definitely want to be open to everybody, the whole community, and we have not taking anything away from the seniors, and in fact, increased our programming around that as well, but also trying to create opportunities and events for seniors to bring their families in and their grandkids and do things together. So as a matter of fact, we have a pancake breakfast with Santa coming up in December, as an example. So we can flip to the next one. After we created the new strategy, we created goals to make sure we hold ourselves accountable to the strategy. So there's 4 goals. 2 of them we just measure yearly, but the other 2 are measured quarterly. So the first one is to increase membership. So we do have a membership plan, if you will, at the Gillespie, but it's not like, a gym membership, because again, anyone can use our facility. It's really, I like to call them supporters. Supporters of the Gillespie. It's a small contribution, but it's $40 for an individual for a year to be a member, $50 for a family. And then, of course, they can give more, higher levels of support, if you will. But you don't have to be a member to come into the center and to use any of our facilities. The benefits they do get is they get a newsletter. We have a monthly newsletter that's sent to them, so they have that, either email or mail. And they do get a discount on certain things in the center. The next one, and I'm happy to say that we have went up from our goal, not as much as I'd like, but a lot of our members are rolling off, if you will, or passing away. And we are getting new members, but probably not at the same rate. So we're still working on that, if you will. The next one is to obviously increase our profit, which we've done a great job at. We have lots of different efforts. Again, most of our income is based on fundraising. Bill Gillespie did set up an endowment for us, but in the several years past, they've been borrowing from that endowment, which is not our goal. So our goal has become sustainable, right, our mission. So we've had some concerted efforts around fundraising, and part of that is the City Roadshow as well, getting city support. But we're well on our way now in the green, so we're happy to report that. The other goal is increasing program usage. So how we're going to be successful if more people use our center, more people come into the center. So I do track that. We have lots of services, which I'll get to, but we track how many people are in exercise class or how many people use our free tax program, free tax preparation program, things like that. And then our last goal is measured yearly as well. It's NPS, which I'm sure you have all done this. You may not know what it is, but it's basically a form of customer service evaluation. So it stands for Net Promoter Score, but it's basically how satisfied. So a lot of times you might get a service and you get an email saying, what would you rate us on 1 to 10? How likely would you refer us to a friend? That's what that question is. And so when I started, I created a survey that went out to all of our members and available to anyone to fill out. And then we're doing that yearly to see our progress. And I'm super happy to report that we're up significantly on that goal. So that's exciting, 95%. Always can do better, though. So if you flip to the next slide, again, just for awareness, we offer a lot of services and programming. Again, available to everyone, but probably more focused on seniors. Income tax preparation is a big one. We're going to come into that at the beginning of the year here. So we work with ARP, and they provide volunteers, and the program is, though, run by one of our volunteers. And anyone actually can come in and do free tax preparation. There are, guidelines around that. You can't have a complicated tax. It's really meant for people that need it financially. So they do simple tax preparations. I'm not going to drain the whole list, but I'll call it a few I think that are more important. We also do free health insurance counseling, Medicare counseling. So people have questions, and that's been very busy lately, obviously, with the new Medicare changes. But we have anything from defensive driving classes for seniors, 55 plus, to get discounts on their insurance, to eyeglass services, free. We have foot care services that's not free. Most of them we try to do free. This is a nurse-owned company that comes in and does foot assessments and pedicures for people. We work with Ridgeview Medical to do a lot of health screening. So we just did flu shots recently. We're going to have blood pressure checks coming up. We just did dementia screening recently as well. They're great partners. We also do free tech support. And we have a lunch program and a weekly lunch program and a weekly breakfast program. We have lots of different clubs. Like when you think of a senior center, probably that's what you think of, card club, bingo. We have game clubs like Mahjong and Rumikube. We have coffee house every morning. Anyone can come in and socialize. Lots of interesting groups or different groups, photography, ukulele. We have a choir. Square dancing is actually happening tonight at the center. It's on Monday nights. And we have Men's Shed, which is very much aligned with our mission. It's helping men, break that social isolation. If you want to flip to the next page, we have a lot of educational programs. So again, I partner with Ridgeview Medical, and we do about a monthly seminar on a different health topics. We've done dementia, cancer prevention. We have one coming up on Parkinson's and awareness about Parkinson's. We've done like diabetes, medication, information, that whole gamut. So they're great partners. Again, all these seminars are free to the public. I won't drain it. Financial services, of course, pre-planning. We work with like Huber, and they come in and help people with pre-planning, advanced planning, legal planning. We have technology seminars. So I've worked with somebody who comes in. She used to work at Apple and helps people with their Apple devices and helping them that way. We have special interest seminars. So a lot of the times they're a fee, but we don't pass it along. So we pay for that. We have a historian coming in December, and he's doing, I forget what he's doing. Oh, he's doing the Prohibition. That's what it is. He's done other topics as well, like the Mount Rushmore, the making of the icons. So interesting, different topics. We do have community talks. We've had different mayors come in, so you're more than welcome to come in and give updates. The fire department, the Orono Police. And that's been super helpful. Orono Police do a great job with like helping seniors with fraud, making sure they're not getting victim to the latest fraud scams out there. And then we started doing excursions. We don't have our own bus, but I found a economical bus company out in Norwood Young America we partner with, and we do different day trips, mostly to plays and theaters, museums, that kind of thing. So that's been very popular. They pay for that, of course, because I have to buy the ticket and the van. If you want to flip to the next slide. So with our rollout of our new strategy, we rebranded, and we did a lot with marketing. When I started there, they had a website, but it was I wouldn't even call it a website. It was not helpful. So we've updated and created a new website to get more information out there to the public. We've expanded our social media. We did a building refresh. So the picture on there is the new color. It used to be like a cedar, like wood, dark brown, and it looked kind of just blended in. So now we've did a refresh and it's light blue, and we get a lot of compliments on it. Now it looks more like a welcoming place to come into. We've expanded I told you we have a newsletter. I've worked with cities to try to get information in their newsletter, so I would love to partner with you on that to help get the word out and get that resource out to people. And then I created a newsletter sponsorship program with the community, so businesses can put their ad in our newsletter, and then another source of income for us. So that's been successful. So fundraising, like I said, we depend on a lot of fundraising. We do, if you want to flip to the next slide, we do have a discount bakery. We partner with Cub Foods. We have for a long time. And then when the new Mac and Tunes in Minnetrista opened, I went to them and asked them where they do with their bakery rescue. And so we get baked the same day, like the date on the products is today, for example. And then we ask for a donation of half price. And it is a donation. Some people take it, and maybe they need it. That's fine. And some people give us the 50%, and some people give us more, so it kind of all washes out. So it's been very successful, and people love it because they can walk there or they drive there, and they don't have to go into a big store and walk around. If you think of some of our members, right, our people that shop there, they sometimes, can't get around a big store. We have a big spring. We have a couple big fundraisers, and one of them is in the spring. We call it the Spring Fling, but it's a big spaghetti dinner. We usually have a band and some bingo events. We do things like paint and sip. We have a quarterly lunch with Scotty B. If you're familiar with Scotty B's in Mount, who sold his business and semi-retired. He's very community-minded, so he comes in and volunteers to make a lunch. So we just have to pay for the ingredients, and that's very well attended. People love him, so we might get 80 people for lunch that day. So it's pretty amazing. He has one coming up on December 10th. If you're interested, he's making his famous sauerkraut soup. And yeah, when I heard that, I'm like, I've been to Scotty B's a lot when he was in town, and I never had that. But people love it, and I thought, that sounds weird, but it was really actually very delicious. It tasted more like potato with kielbasa soup. But he's been great. We do an event on the Spirit of the Lakes because the parade goes right by us, so we try to do a family-orientated kids games and things, and then we do a cornhole tournament that same day as the Spirit of the Lakes. We had a summer concert. We pair with Back Channel and with Culver's, and I'm always looking for more community businesses that will do this, and they do community nights. So they put us on their schedule for community nights, which is awesome. And then, like I mentioned, we did have our 25th anniversary celebration and fundraiser, which was in October. Very well attended. We sold out our tickets. We had 200 people, and it was a fabulous event. Remaining this year, even though it's only a month left, we do have 3 big fundraisers. So we have our Holiday Boutique, which we've done every year. This is our 31st year. It's running the first week of December. And then our Christmas Brunch, which is December 13th, and our Pancake Breakfast with Santa, which is the 20th. And we have things happening, like we have at the brunch, we have Cindy Hilger. She's a retired WCCO anchor. She's going to come and do a reading. And then at the Pancake Breakfast, we have a local musician who does music lessons. So he's coming in to play, but he's also bringing his students in. So they're going to, play the guitar or the piano or whatever. So that'll be fun. So our ask, like I mentioned, is that we just hope that you would consider us in your next budget year. I know it's a year and a half to give whatever you can. I've made the rounds. Mound, Minnetrista, Orono are all giving us, in Spring Park, 4 cities so far, have committed to funding us in some way. I should add that you probably asked, so I'm going to just be preemptive here, is Currently, I just checked our roster. We do have 15 Maple Plain members, and we have about 25 Maple Plain residents that attend. Like I said, I track people that come, so they might come in for a program or for a event or whatever. So we do have, and I'd love to see more from Maple Plain, but we do have definitely some Maple Plain residents. And then other ways you can support, if you flip to the next page, like I mentioned, if I could partner, I don't know if it's you, Jacob, or somebody else on your team, communications person, if there's an opportunity to, if you do a city newsletter or like Orno also puts us on their website or a link to our website, things like that, any way, or social media, to help promote and get awareness to the Gillespie Center to your residents. Of course, I encourage you all to come in and see us. I'd love to give you a tour. Like us on Facebook and Instagram, and share our posts if you could. Consider becoming a member yourself, and volunteer opportunities. So again, I listened to the presentation, and we're pretty much run on volunteers. We staff a front desk, we have the bakery drivers, we need volunteers for events and things like that. So that's something else I like to publicize. And attend our fundraisers. I'd love to see you guys at the pancake breakfast or the brunch, things like that. Any questions you have for me about the Gillespie Center?
Questions for Rhonda? Well, thank you so much for being here this evening and sharing the great work that's going on at the Gillespie Center. We appreciate it.
Great, thank you. All
Thank you,
right.
Rhonda.
Yeah, have a great night. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. All right. Next item of business this evening is our consent agenda. Our consent agenda includes items from the October 27th City Council Workshop Meeting, the October 27th City Council Business Meeting, the November 10th City Council Workshop Meeting, the November 17th City Council Workshop Meeting minutes, Resolution 25-1124-01, the Solar APP and Solar Permitting Software Grant, Resolution 25-1124-02, City Council Appeals Hearing Policy, and the Snow Removal Contract with Snow Pros for 25-26. Assistant Administrator Larson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Honorable Council, I'd like to make two suggestions for alterations of the consent agenda. First and foremost, I'd like to clarify the minutes on item B, 10/27/25, the workshop. Specifically on the park improvement section, I'd like to change the verbiage to ever so slightly, going from the metal slide at Brentwood Park to the removal of the metal sign at Brentwood Park. And then the second change is
Just clarification, excuse me, is Bryantwood Park.
Bryantwood.
Yeah.
Did I say Bryanwood?
That's okay.
I
Just so everyone knows what we're
apologize.
talking about, the
Bryantwood.
metal slide at Bryantwood Park.
Yep. And then the other section, let me pop back up here, is under the resolution, or item F, resolution for the City Council Appeals. My title is the Assistant City Administrator, not the City Administrator, so I'd like to make that, or recommend that change also.
Okay. Thank you for those corrections. Any other corrections? Okay, hearing none, then with those two corrections, looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Francis,
I'll second that motion.
second by Burek. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. All right, next item of business this evening is our staff reports. All of those have been submitted by all of our staff. Would anyone like to speak? Councilmember Burek.
Isn't accounts payable the next one?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Oh, all right, we'll go back to accounts payable. All right, let's go back to accounts payable on page 60. We have city bills, ACH bills, and the 2024 street project bills. Any questions? Any comments from staff?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. One thing I just wanted to point out on the agenda for the street bills, it has the dollar amount, but it does not on city or ACH bills. This is a technical software glitch that we are working on with tech support, why it's not copying over. But just for the record, the city bills totaled $210,800.67. The ACH came in at $10,062.88. And as shown here, the street project bills were $8,112.50 for a total of $228,976.05.
Thank you, Administrator Shalander. And those numbers are in the packet, but not on our agenda, if anyone's looking for those again. Anyone have any questions regarding accounts payable or the 2024 street project bills? Okay, hearing none, then I'm looking for a motion to approve all three items.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Councilmember Burek.
Second.
Second by Councilmember DeLuca. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 5-0. Now, the next item of business is our staff reports, and that includes written reports from all of our staff. Would anyone like to speak from staff who's here this evening? Okay. Council have any questions for staff or questions regarding the reports? Okay, hearing none, I'm looking for a motion to accept staff reports from the Fire Department, West Hennepin Public Safety, City Engineer, Public Works, City Planner, and Administration and Finance.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Councilmember Francis,
I'll second that motion.
second by Councilmember Burek. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 5-0. We have no old business this evening, so we will move on to new business on page 106 in our packets. And the first item of new business is revision to approve minutes from March 24th, 2025, the City Council Workshop Meeting minutes. And I will turn that over to Assistant City Administrator Larson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Honorable Council. Revision to approve the minutes on 3/24, the City Council Workshop meeting. The purpose is to correct the approved minutes from that meeting. I'm adding in comment, or there's the addition of the commentary of the 2025 Enterprise Fund budget, parking enforcement discussion, and the Board of Appeals and Equalization. Staff is recommending the council approve the revised minutes for 3/24/25 of the City Council Workshop meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Larson. Any comments or questions? Councilmember Rochelle?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Excuse me. I would like to say I apologize that I said I wasn't aware of the conversation regarding, sorry, I had forgotten about what we have discussed at the previous workshops, and being new in my third month as a council member at the time, but we did talk about it, and this revision reflects that. So again, I apologize for any misunderstanding.
Thank you very much. Any other comments or questions? Councilmember Burek?
Being on council, there's always going to be that possibility of this subject coming back up. It was definitely a understanding of how detailed this job is, and the devils are in the details, and that's what we are here to focus on. So, I have to accept a part of not having this, and catching this mistake myself, so.
Thank you, Councilmember Burek. Any further discussion, questions, or comments? hearing none, looking for a motion to approve the revision to the approved minutes from 3/24/25 City Council Workshop Meeting minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Councilmember Burak,
Second.
second by Councilmember DeLuca. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 5-0. The next item of business to come before us this evening is Resolution 2025-1124-03, accepting the grant navigator funding, and I will turn that over to City Administrator Shalander.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. This resolution comes before you. We applied for a grant with the Grant Navigator Program at the League of Minnesota Cities to cover the cost of writing, Bolton Mink writing the grant for the local road improvement grant. The league awarded us a $7,000 grant that covers all of the funds for Bolton and Mink to write that grant. And this resolution is us officially accepting that grant money.
Thank you for that summary. Any questions for staff regarding accepting of the grant navigator funding? All right, hearing none, I'm looking for a motion to approve Resolution 2025-1124-03, accepting the grant navigator funding.
So moved.
Moved by DeLuca,
Second.
second by Burek. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Next item of business before us this evening is another resolution, Resolution 2025-1124-04, calling for TIF public hearing, and I will turn that over to Administrator Shalander.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. This resolution is putting on the books a public hearing for Development District Number 2 tax increment financing. You may ask, why are we doing this so far in advance? It's because this goes to the folks that are working on it and basically provides them the go-ahead to move forward, knowing that we have a public hearing date on the books. The original date of this public hearing was scheduled for a business meeting. And our practice is we don't do public hearings at the same night that we're going to make a decision on something. So this was scheduled for February 17th, which is a Tuesday, because that Monday is a holiday. I am certainly open if any council members need to change that date to a Monday prior to that, but not after that. So if everybody's okay with this date, we can move forward with that. If not, we can change the date and reflect that in the resolution.
I will most likely not be here that night, but if the rest of you will, and Councilmember DeLuca is. And then I did also, whatever date we land on, I know typically we've tried to not start at 5:30 to allow people to get here from work. And this has a 5:30 start as well, which in the past we have tried to do later, so families can get here and people can get home from work. So I'd also like to note that I think the start time is too early for some working families to have the opportunity to participate. Do you know if you'll be here? All right. All right. I'm here. Okay, so it looks like we'll have enough for a quorum, and then Councilmember DeLuca would be here to lead that meeting. Okay, perfect.
Would you like to change the time to 7 p.m. to be later? Okay, we'll reflect that in the final resolution that we sign.
Okay, but we can still approve it tonight using the same number, correct? We can just verbalize. Okay, so I am looking for a motion to approve Resolution 2025-1124-04, ordering a public hearing for the TIF district on Tuesday, February 17th at 7 p.m.
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Francis,
I'll second that.
second by DeLuca. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. And one more resolution before us this evening is Resolution 2025-1124-05, adopting the Code of Conduct, and I will turn this over again to Administrator Shalander.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. We first started discussing this code of conduct in January of this year when we did a workshop with Amy Gourlay from the League of Minnesota Cities. Through that, there's been several different revisions, and recently the Personnel Committee has gone through that, made the revisions, and presented to the council at a workshop. So tonight, we're here to approve the final code of conduct.
Thank you, Administrator Shalander. Any questions regarding the Code of Conduct or the process? Okay, hearing none, I'm looking for a motion to approve Resolution 2025-1124-05, adopting the Code of Conduct.
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Burek,
Second.
second by Francis. Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 5-0. Next item before us this evening is an ordinance, Ordinance 335, amending fee schedule language, and I will turn that over to staff.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. Ordinance 335 is just going through and amending sections of the code that reference our fee schedule. In January, we will be adopting an ordinance for the fee schedule. Currently, we do by resolution, and so this is just making those changes through city code.
All right, thank you. Any questions for staff regarding that? Okay, looking for a motion to approve Ordinance 335, amending the fee schedule language.
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Burek,
Second.
second by DeLuca. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 5-0. Next item of business before us this evening is letter F, Ordinance 336, amending Section 922, the hydrant connections. And I will turn that back over to staff as well.
Thank you again, Madam Mayor, members of the council. Ordinance 336 is in regards to fire hydrant connections, revises the rules for those connections, requiring written permits to use those. Those permits are only good for 20 days, and all the fees must be paid in advance. Also puts together an application process for those permits.
Thank you for that summary. Any questions for staff? Hearing none, looking for a motion to approve ordinance number 336, amendment to Maple Plain Fire Code Section 922, the fire hydrant connections.
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Burek,
And I'll second it.
second by DeLuca. Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 5-0. The next item of business is ordinance 337, amending Chapter 7, Article 4, the right-of-way permit. And I will turn that over to staff again.
Thank you again, Madam Mayor, members of the council. This is just kind of overhauling our right-of-way regulations, establishing procedures for permitting for excavation, installation of facilities in the public right-of-way, and updating some language for small cell wireless. It introduces registration requirements, requiring the contractor to provide issuance and bonding, and sets out the permitting process, application process, and the fees.
All right, thank you. Looking for a motion to approve ordinance 337, amending Chapter 7, Article 4, the right-of-way permit.
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Burek,
And I'll second it.
second by DeLuca. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 5-0. Next item is ordinance 338, the fees and appeal process. I'll turn back over to staff.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. This amendment adds 2 sections to Chapter 1, a general permit fee provision and a standardized appeal process. Basically, if there is no fee that is assigned, the general fee would apply for any permitting. And then the appeal process allows individuals affected by city decisions to request a hearing before the council. This provides clear timelines, submission requirements, and some updated legal language to those proceedings.
Any questions for staff? I just want to say, appreciate your work on this and making things more clear, and, you know, we've learned from experiences, so that makes us better. Looking for a motion to approve ordinance 338, amendment to Maple Plains City Code, Chapter 1.
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Francis,
I'll second.
second by Burek. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 5-0. Next item of business is ordinance 339, driveway design standards and fees.
Thank you again, Madam Mayor, members of the council. This ordinance updates driveway and parking design requirements, requiring permits for new, expanded, or reconstructed driveways and curb cuts. Our current ordinance is not very clear on that. Also assigns fees to that city fee schedule. And it also revises application requirements for subdivision, site plans, variances, rezoning, conditional use permits, clarifying that application language.
Thank you, Administrator Schillander. Any questions for staff? All right, looking for a motion to approve ordinance 339, the driveway design standards and fees.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Councilmember Arvizo,
Second.
second by Councilmember DeLuca. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 5-0. Next item is ordinance 340, amending Chapter 5, Article 4, and the escrow requirements on page 174. I'll turn it over to staff, sorry.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This ordinance replaces special use permit section for grading, filing, and excavation. It requires permits for substantial land alterations, submissions of erosion control plans, and compliance with clean fill standards. Applicants have to pay the fees, provide financial security to guarantee the performance. It also addresses drainage correction procedures and reinforces code compliance when it comes to new residential construction.
All right, any questions for staff? All right, looking for a motion to approve ordinance 340, amending Chapter 5, Article 4, and the escrow requirements.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Councilmember Burek,
Second.
second by Councilmember Francis. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 5-0. Next item of business is ordinance 341, amending Chapter 5, Article 5, the bulk waste storage on page 180. And I'll turn that over to staff for a summary.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Honorable Council. This ordinance introduces regulations for dumpsters on public and residential properties. It requires permits for dumpsters placed on public property and limits placement on residential property to 30 days without a permit, with a maximum of 180 days with a permit. It sets application requirements, seasonal restrictions, safety standards, and declares violations a public nuisance subject to abatement. Fees for permits are established in the city's fee schedule.
All right, thank you, Assistant Administrator Larson. Any questions for Mr. Larson? Hearing none, looking for a motion to approve ordinance 341, amending Chapter 5, Article 5, bulk waste storage.
So moved.
Moved by DeLuca,
Second.
second by Francis. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 5-0. Next item of business is ordinance 342, amending Chapter 5, Articles 1 and Chapter 6, Article 2, Section 28, the code Managed Natural Landscapes, page 185 in our packets. And I will turn that over to Administrator Shalander. All right. Mr. Larson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Honorable Council. This amendment creates the framework for managed natural landscapes, allowing intentional plantings of native and ornamental vegetation under a registration system. It defines key items, requires a maintenance plan, and prohibits encroachment into a buffer area. The ordinance also updates nuisance provisions to exempt registered landscapes and sets enforcement measurements or measures for non-compliance, including revocation and cost recovery. The ordinance aims to balance ecological benefits with property maintenance standards.
Thank you, Mr. Larson. I am looking for a motion to approve ordinance 342, amending Chapter 5, Article 1, and Chapter 6, Article 2, Section 28, Code Managed Natural Landscapes.
So moved.
No, wait, excuse me, pardon me. I thought there was discussion before that, because I have a statement I'd like to make.
We have a first and a second, and then there will be discussion.
Okay.
I'll move we approve that.
Moved by Councilmember DeLuca,
Second.
second by Councilmember Francis. Any discussion or questions? Councilmember Arvizo.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to restate what I prepared. That it's essential to take a thoughtful approach to revising the ordinance to ensure that the homeowners, who have managed natural landscapes are supported rather than marginalized. The current wording is a public nuisance for any person to install, permit, or installation of, or maintain vegetation consisting and managed natural landscape lacks the clarity we need. According to the state's definition, a public nuisance is defined as something that unreasonably disrupts shared community rights or poses risk to public well-being. Therefore, it would be wise to remove this statement from the ordinance, as maintaining a natural landscape offers numerous environmental benefits without causing harm. Furthermore, the suggested 3-year time frame should be reevaluated, as native plants typically need this time to flourish. This proposed ordinance language in Section 5-3 creates a new registration process for landscaping on properties that do not seem feasible for city staff to implement or enforce. The definition in Section 5-1 for managed natural landscapes includes, among other things, any planned, intentional, and maintained planting of trees, shrubs, or ornamental plants. Any properties in the city of Maple Plain that contain planted trees, shrubs, and/or ornamental garden plants will require registration of every 3 years. This new requirement would create a huge administrative burden for the city staff and residents, because most properties within the city contain some types of planted vegetation, such as trees, shrubs, and ornamental plants that would require registration. Additionally, the proposed application requirements appear lengthy and cumbersome for both applicants and city staff reviewing the applications. To reduce the administrative burden on city staff and residents, proposed ordinance and language could be revised while maintaining the requirements for landscape maintenance and buffers. I'd like to make the motion to postpone to December 15th of 25 to have staff revise Section 5-2, Part B, for further definition of nuisance and abatement, and 5-3, Part A, to refine the restoration and exclusion requirements.
There's already a motion on the table, so we'll have to vote on that first before we can vote on another motion, is my understanding of Robert's rules. Is that correct, Steph?
Yes, Madam Mayor, that would be correct. The time to make that motion, Councilmember Arvizo, would be at the time or prior to staff presenting the ordinance.
It was my understanding that this was the proper way of doing it. So,
But because there's been a motion made before yours, that motion takes precedent.
Other questions or comments regarding the ordinance? Councilmember Francis.
I'm looking for some clarification. We're only talking about pollinator gardens, rain gardens, natural landscapes, not trees that have been planted or bushes that are planted, say, around decks or around the front of homes. Is that correct?
That is
Mr.
correct.
Larson?
That is correct.
So my bushes and shrubs that I have around my house aren't subject to this ordinance?
That is correct.
Okay,
It's not subject.
okay.
Other questions, comments, or clarifications?
Yeah, I like to respond to that. If you look in the definitions of the ordinance where it says managed natural landscapes means a planned, intentional, and maintained planting of native or non-native grasses, flowers, forbs, ferns, shrubs, or trees, including but not limited to rain gardens, meadows, vegetation, or pollinator habitats, and ornamental plants. So in the definition, that is how it's defined in the ordinance, and that is what I'm asking that we postpone to reword this ordinance.
Staff, this has been looked at by our attorney and discussed in a workshop. Is there any reason to believe this needs to go back to legal or back to staff, or is there staff concerns?
Madam Mayor, there is not from my standpoint.
Thank you. Mr. Larson?
Nor from mine.
Okay. Further discussion or questions? Okay, so there is a motion on the table and a second to approve ordinance 342, amending Chapter 5, Articles 1 and Chapter 6, Article 2, Section 28, Code Managed Natural Landscapes. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Sign. No.
The motion passes 4-1. All right, thank you. That was a lot of motions, and revisions and ordinance and resolution and a lot of good work. Next item of business this evening is council reports and other business. Who would like to start us off? Councilmember Francis.
For my report this month, November has been busy with workshops. We've spent a lot of time in discussions, being deep thought, and making sure that we're dotting our i's and crossing our t's. I've learned a lot from the process we've gone through with like the revision of the minutes, that I took a different approach to tonight's meeting, and it took me all weekend to go back and look at previous notes, agendas, meeting minutes, and putting it all together that at times my head was going to explode. But it's been a good experience. When I originally came on council, I didn't know what I was getting into, and I get surprised every month, but in a good way. So, yeah, it's been a busy month, a good month. Looking forward to the end of the year and getting our budget tied down and finishing strong.
Thank you. And it's a steep learning curve, and we're always learning.
Yes.
Councilmember Burek.
And I just want to echo on the workshop subject here. It definitely was played a bad tasting left in your mouth when you come across any kind of mistake you make. And it is a learning curve, but I'm thankful that we have a council that is here to work for the better good, and we'll hold each other accountable. And we're human, but yet our job is not to make these mistakes. So I have to leave it on that we shouldn't make mistakes like that. Second of all, I did council chats this month. Definitely a new experience. It's kind of a little bit more laid back, welcoming feeling, so it was kind of nice. And then I was with the Rotary, picking up the flags at Veterans Memorial Park. And that was, it was great to serve the community in that aspect, cleaning that up, because it takes time to set up, it takes time to clean up, and that's usually what is missed about the gratitude that we give to these events, is the before and the after. So, and that is where I'm gonna leave it at.
Thank you. Next.
Yes. We start there first. We had our Chamber of Commerce, where we had Bill Shirk discuss native plants that are crucial for landscaping, because they help with erosion control, with their deep root systems, stabilizing the soil, and they limit water use because they're adapted to local conditions and reduce the need for fertilizers and pesticides, since they are naturally resistant to local pests and diseases. And also, he discussed how the extensive root networks also help filtrate the water and through the soil instead of runoff, which cleanses both the water before it reaches the waterways and aquifers. So it's important to remember, as part of the Pioneer Sarah Creek watershed, that any water that's on our land, it goes down the storm drains, flows right into the watershed, but is not first treated before it goes into our watershed. So it has the potential to carry pollutants such as, chemical fertilizers and the like. And it's important to remember this is something that you have to think about. Any piece of land, including us in urban areas, even though we're not exactly on the lake, we're still part of that watershed. And so please keep in mind for that, with that. And that also brings back to where my part of a commissioner on the Pioneer Sarah Creek watershed, where we discussed working with some of the shorelines on Lake Peter, which is part of our watershed, as well as Lake Independence, for some areas along shorelines that have been damaged due to either ice heaves or to other structural damage, and how they are looking to use some of the grant money to help shore up those shorelines, if you will, and using native plants to help keep it nice and clean, again, to help keep our Lake Independence nice and clean, to also help prevent sediment from going into the lakes, et cetera, so we can have a nice recreational area and clean water. Also, as a personal note, I would like people to apply for the Lawn and Lagoons grant that's coming up in November 30th. This is it's a free application, and where you'll be rewarded $400 to help establish a pollinator garden within your property. Any little bit helps with that. And also to help other people, because as I guess I am a master gardener certified, a lot of comments I got to hear this summer during my volunteer hours was, a lot of my plants didn't come back from winter. And I like to encourage people to, mulch with the leaves, like there's perennials that they have that help insulate it for the winter, so they do come back and thrive. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember DeLuca.
A busy November it was. Workshops with a variety of topics, from selling water to ordinances that we just went through, to feasibility studies on road projects, of all things, to our downtown development. So never a dull moment in our workshops. Our personnel committee had spent a considerable amount of time the last month in the conversion of our time off program for our staff to a PTO system, and we'll be seeing that soon, coming to council. In trying to get prepared for some of the new state statutes on leave provisions, to the code of conduct that we approved tonight, which gives us sort of a framework of how we behave as staff and council, to a pretty extensive discussion about the performance review process that I think we're all aware of. We're in the collection of feedback stage on the administrator's performance, and we'll be conducting that performance review in mid-December. But probably my most favorite activity during the month was our Citizens Advisory Group. Kevin and I spent some time with a group of citizens helping prioritize, at the council's direction, prioritizing some of our potential projects for the parks coming up, and some very enlightened feedback from our citizens. So we'll be bringing that and synthesizing that as we spend the winter trying to figure out where are we going to go next with our parks. Always fun.
Looking forward to hearing that. All right, thank you. The two things I want to start with both happened since our last council meeting, but did happen in October. And the first was the trunk or treat event hosted by the Chamber of Commerce. And Mother Nature was not very gracious to us that morning, but we persevered, and it was still a hit even without the bouncy house. And we're so grateful to all the businesses that donated baskets and decorated trunks, and that everyone that came out. It's always a fun event to see people at. And never fails, police and fire are always number one. So we're super thankful for them as well. And then the other one, which is just crucial, and just need to take the opportunity tonight, that we were part of the Senate Metro Area Bonding Tour for the Highway 12 Safety Coalition. So that goes back to the lobbying, the lobbyists that we helped to support with the City of Independence and the City of Delno. And we just want to continue to advocate, and this is a huge step in the right direction, and in hopes of getting some funding. So any awareness that we can continue to bring to Highway 12 and find sources of revenue are just crucial. So we are grateful that we were part of the Senate Metro Area Bonding Tour late October. So thank you to everyone who helped pull that off. Already talked about was Rotary. We had a couple different service projects with Uganda. We toured the museum. We had speakers from community ed. But always a highlight for me is our Veterans Day program. And it's just another opportunity of collaboration and different groups working together. It's the Orono Rotary, it's the City of Maple Plain, it's the City of Orono, it's Orono High School. And it has become the Community Veterans Day program established by our elected officials throughout the Orono School District. All 6 cities are represented there. And especially in today's society, I think what that models with people being in the same room from different beliefs, different walks of life, treating each other with respect and kindness, and finding something that we have in common is just crucial. So especially thankful for that. And as Councilmember Burek alluded to, for the Flag Angels, again, even at the school, flags were put up, the streets were lined, and it's a powerful example of working together with our community partners and offering something great for the community. So thank you to everyone who made that happen. Was part of the 4M fund, which we as a city have money invested in, so it's been interesting learning more about that and how they invest and why. Interesting topic. I attended the community gathering with Commissioner Anderson at Blackwater. Always good to hear his priorities as one of our commissioners, and for him to hear from us what we're looking forward and ways to partner. Was able to attend the fire relief meeting and was really just working through the dissolving of PARA and all that is involved with that and next steps. We had the LMC board meeting. We finalized our legislative priorities, things that they will be advocating for us on our behalf, and their goals for the year. The Minnesota Mayors Association, we worked on our service contract and our plan for our upcoming meetups. Regional Council of Mayors was interesting. We had former Governor Tim Pawlenty was there, and his entire presentation was on leadership and things that he's learned throughout his time. So that was a meaningful time together. We already talked about Bill Schreck, and he shared great light and is a great storyteller from Minnesota Bound with the Chamber. So if any businesses are watching, you should consider joining the Chamber. Councilmember DeLuca covered personnel. That's been busy and with all those things going on, so thank you for that. The Northwest Hennepin League was interesting. We had, it was with Hennepin County, and it was their natural resources manager, again, talking about water and trees and landscapes. So, and there'll be some opportunities for grants with that, so I'll make sure to share those with staff. There's been numerous fire service meetings. We're continuing to work towards the consolidation at year end, so that will be here before we know it. And then just the visits, the emails, the phone calls with residents and business owners. But I would really like to call out one visit that happened this week, and I forgot to bring the card into the workshop, but it's in the office. Haven Homes showed up here one day last week just to show appreciation to the city for the partnership, for the support, and the relationship, and the memory care. The memory care residents made handmade cards and delivered that and some flowers. So that is in the office. Take time to take a peek at that and check out their Facebook page as well. They did visit the police department and the fire department, and there's some really great pictures of interaction of the residents on the bus with some of our staff. So that was fun. I just want to thanks again to the Rotary and everyone at Veterans Memorial Park. The program, the flags, just invaluable. Remind everyone that Saturday, December 6th, which is not that far away, is our 45th annual View Santa. So make sure to get your kids, grandkids, and adults, kids at heart, make sure you come outside and wave to Santa. And if you are able to donate some food to the food shelf, they will pick that up for you as well. And again, congrats to Mardell, our Good Neighbor Award, and just her challenge, if we could all just touch one person and make a difference in one person's life. There's a lot to be said about that. And I say it all the time, but together we're better. And if we each do one little thing, it's just another example. Any other business to come before us this evening? Okay, hearing none, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Francis.
Second.
Second by Burek. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, the meeting's adjourned at 8:12. We'll take